If you're working on a creative project or a creative brand right now and you're trying to figure out where to put it, which platforms to be on, how many channels you can manage, what to post, when to post, I think you might be overthinking it. I know I was. Hi, I'm Steve, and I created Futureative to explore the future of creativity so independent creatives everywhere can navigate the next decade of change. And in this video, I'm breaking down why a carefully crafted content strategy isn't always as helpful as you think, and what to do instead. A lot of successful creators make the hypothetical video where they tell you what they'd do differently if they started from scratch. Well, I'm actually starting from scratch right now, building a creative brand from nothing, and I want to document what we're learning as we go so that you can see what's actually working for us and what's not. Starting with this. We spent months building a content strategy and then watched it get outperformed by a couple of completely unplanned posts. To understand why this surprised me, I need to go back a bit. Because every time I've got social media working, it's always been the same recipe. I can't believe I didn't see this time around. Personal outreach and connections coupled with a simple, often real-time content strategy has always been how I've got things off the starting line. That's always been it. When I was getting started in the industry in 2013, I spent my first 12 months on Twitter just connecting with people, talking to people who wanted to have a chat about the music industry, people with like-minded interests. I was posting short ideas I had about the music business. Once a month, I was writing a little blog and publishing it on Tumblr because I didn't know where else to put it. Within 12 months, I'd grown to about 3,000 or 4,000 followers from memory, which was obviously pretty decent at the time, and I was getting some real results from that, actually starting to build a business. Then in 2016, I wanted to launch a new brand, so I started a music industry community. We started it on Facebook. The first 100 or 200 members came because I emailed everyone I knew personally that I thought might be interested in a new community. They invited more, we held an online conference. Within 6 months or so, there were 2,500 people in the community. Both times I built small micro communities that naturally started to take off after that first 12 months of nurturing, and they grew to over 10,000 strong audiences. And both times I stopped because it started to feel like I was losing connection with the reason I began, and it started to feel like I was just throwing content into the social media void. That's partly on me, how I was building those audiences and the businesses around it, but also it's such a great learning experience because this time around, I want to do things differently. So right now I've got this new brand, Futureative, closely modeled on all of my old brands, but I've really wanted to do it differently, and I've honestly been daunted by the idea of making content. I haven't always been in the right headspace to be like, gosh, how do I show up in the world with probably video first content that is ultimately relatively performative? I've grappled with, do I even want to do this for a number of years? And in the last year or so, I've worked out that yes, absolutely I want to do this. I do have things to say, and I can figure out some ways to make this creatively fulfilling and then therefore hopefully sustainable over time. So it was a long road of development for us, figuring out the brand of Futureative and exactly what we wanted to do. We knew who we wanted to help and how, but we needed to work out a content strategy. So after about 3 or 4 months of developing that strategy and that workflow, the one thing that I really wanted was to create something that felt meaningful to me, something built around my strengths, which is riffing on topics and reflecting and sharing insights and how I think and see things. Surprise, my day job is a lecturer. We tried not to overthink that part, and we tried to then just let the creative work lead the way. So we landed on 1 video per week. Next step was needing a workflow, one that could be repeatable and something that could be optimized over time so it functions a bit like a flywheel. Each time we go through the process improves and becomes easier. I knew this would be important because I don't have lots of time in the week, and we wanted to basically have content that could work across multiple channels so we could run lots of little experiments and also meet more amazing creative people that are hanging out on different platforms as well. Next, we needed, I suppose, some form of a strategy. So being a lecturer in the creative industries, well, part of my job is understanding platform trends and changes already. But outside of that, I didn't do tons of research on the content or what's working on social media. I really didn't want to get caught up in the game of getting everything just right. In that sense, it's kind of similar to how I've started projects on social media in the past. Just find something I want to make and then, well, let's go. So we got our first batch of videos together and we started to share it across all the channels that would likely be most relevant to what we're building. We're making a series of online summits, so video first was naturally an automatic yes. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube were all going to be key to our strategy. Well, we're now on Threads too, and that was honestly totally an afterthought. We had nothing planned for it. But I was studying the platform behind the scenes, and some of the platform's changes and who's using the platform was interesting to me. Thought, well, let's test it out. It's kind of like a place that I'm pretty used to, having started my social media journey kind of on Twitter. And then in that process, we also started to realize that Substack also had relevance to us. I wrote an unplanned article. I needed somewhere to put it. I didn't overthink it. Popped it on Substack, not unlike how my first blog in 2013 started. And from there, we basically been testing content out on these 5 channels, also LinkedIn. And after 2 months of creating and publishing content across all of these channels, doing it totally imperfectly, the best responses have come from my writing short little notes and posting them on Threads and Substack. After 15 years of studying and working in marketing and lecturing in marketing and then using all of that to design a content strategy and workflow for our video first strategy, the 2 things that worked were total afterthoughts. Now, this doesn't mean we failed or got anything wrong. It actually means it's working. So now I share this as a reminder to ourselves of the value of our creative work, yours and mine. Our video first strategy didn't fail. We're not changing it. We'll evolve it, yes, but we're not worried. It's actually happened exactly as it should. The work that we're making, this creative work, is providing life and fuel to me and giving me a reason to show up, connect with people. So what's working is not the content right away, because that takes time. It's the fact that the content gives me a reason to connect with people and to show up in more places in more ways. I'm seeing this more clearly than I ever have. So for Substack and Threads to work, we needed content that we could be proud of producing and publishing. And now we have a cycle where we're putting that content out across multiple platforms. And this feedback loop is starting where our content on Threads and Substack in particular is starting to fuel new video ideas, which in turn is creating articles and then fueling our newsletter, which is going back into this video you're now watching. I just wanted a linear workflow to create content, but now we have a network effect in our strategy where our content is feeding more content. And if I just started and rocked up and appeared on Substack and started posting randomly, I don't think any of this would have worked the same way. We needed a content strategy that was creativity first, like creatively something that I wanted to make. And then we need to put that in a number of places to work out where those ideas should lift and in what forms and formats. This has all just been one big creative experiment. With each time we go through the cycle of making more content, we're getting better lessons about what to put where, and in turn, that's fueling new content ideas. So, how are we building this brand from scratch now? What have we learned? Well, we followed a process. We made some decisions. We created a workflow, and we're backing ourselves to keep going regardless of any metric. We're not here for fast growth. We're trying to build something that we can repeat and improve over time. This is a flywheel, so we can turn it over and over again. And each time we turn it, the flywheel, it gets a little more powerful, which means we will hopefully create better work every time we go through this cycle. The part that I love the most is things aren't working because of my knowledge of marketing. They're because of my deep passion for creativity and creative process and for creative workflows. The things that are working here are likely the things that are your strengths as well. The marketing strategy, kind of to the side, and we're just trying to be creative and then connect with people and build an audience and a community of people that are interested in what we're interested in. I think this is just better marketing anyway. There's a lot of noise out there about what to do if you want to start over or what to do to grow your creative work. I'll just say this. I think build something that works for you and gives you a creative outlet first. Then be ready to adjust and change and refine your workflow so that it's repeatable, but also malleable. Like you should be changing it over time depending on how the world responds to it. If you think of it like that, you might be able to create a network effect in your content too, where your content starts feeding itself and improving itself over time. That's a creative skill, not a marketing skill. I think this is the year of creative experiments, at least for us. That's what's working right now. No big tactics or growth hacks, just creating a workflow that allows us to be creative. If this idea resonates, that creativity can actually just be our marketing, and you want to hear more from me on this idea, you might like to check out this video next.